Hi, it's your PsychoBuddy. Hi to our first guest. This is Sunny.
I
Sunny and I share a somewhat unique, I'm finding out that's a lot more common than I had thought before,
mhm,
and that both of us are or have been systems dissociative identity disorder. Sunny's
diagnosed with.
further along in the process than I am, um, and I'm really interested in that. So Sunny's gone through integration, and I'm still like, who the fuck is even my real self? Like, I'm like, I think that the person talking to you is like just an alter. Like, I'm this half being, and it's a really weird feeling. So I
Which
want to
app?
know, Sunny, what your experience, maybe a little bit about your experience of how it felt to be DID, and what your experience now is, what integration was like.
Oh goodness. Okay.
I
Well,
know that's a little bit huge. Sorry.
yeah, just cover a half century plus. But that's okay. We've got this. So, okay, I'm Sunny. There was Micah, who was about two. Um, Angel, whose age kept track with the body, and Lori, who was a slighter young teenager, 13 to 14, depending upon the day. Um, and um, and then me, Sonny, and I was stuck at 6 years old, which is the time that Angel was born. Um, I created Angel to go ahead and keep me safe, and um, and I went into stasis. Really, I mean, I was 6 years old for over 50 years, and then as we started to move towards integration. A few realizations came and such, and then I started aging. Um, Angel thought he was the primary. He thought he was the original. In fact, he had quite a lot of imposter syndrome, knowing that the DSM says that onset of DID is prior to the age of 5. And he thought it was my birth, it was his, but the day before, he didn't know me. Now he does. So it made sense that he thought that I was born, but he was born at 6. And since he thought he was the primary, he just carried a lot of imposter syndrome with him. Um, when he discovered that I was the primary, I started aging that day. Uh, and in early 2023, can't give you dates, um, but Lori and Micah integrated. And then on November 30th, 2023, um, completely shocked the shit out of me. Angel integrated. All of a sudden, there was just me. And I think but for years, what the words that came out of this mouth were we and us. Um, I spoke, or Angel spoke, um, with us, for us, with one voice. It was we, and it was us. He was, I'm trying to find something better than the best parent that ever was, because he was more than that. Um, yeah, he took extraordinary care of us. My birthday, I took, even though I was the primary, since he didn't know that, um, I took the day that we were diagnosed as my birthday. And there were streamers and happy birthday signs and presents and a cake every year on June 24th. And it feels so weird this year. Like the body's birthday came in April. And it was like, I guess that's mine now. I want June 24th to be mine. And it's not, but it's like that's the day that I was celebrating. And it feels so weird to have your birthday change in midlife, you know? But And then we finally, reconciled it so we can have two cakes this way. So we're good. Okay. So and
I've
maybe
got
brackets.
I've got two questions.
Oh,
Um,
good.
one of them is when you say that they integrated, tell me what you mean, because I have kind of a vague impression that integration can mean globbing into or going away. It seems to me like for you, it's more going away from because you're alone in the body now, is my understanding. And then my second question is very closely related. What does it feel like to be alone in your body?
Oh my
Because
God.
for me, like if the cost of integration were solitude in here, I don't know that I would want it. Like they're my friends, right? Like the parts
Oh God.
are my friends.
Look, the person who diagnosed me, um, first of all, you saw what I wrote on the what was it, finding the right therapist?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, which for anybody listening, that is another one of the videos. So go find it if you want. Um, but yeah, I had a therapist and she loved me, and that was so healing, right? But when I walked in there, I told her, I got one thing that's off limits, and I will get up and walk out. And Angel meant it 100%. It was, we're not going to talk about integration. That's not going to happen for exactly the same reason. You know, they were his,
Friends.
we were all his family.
Yeah.
As I said at one point, it's just like, oh, if we integrate, then what am I going to do? Like sit around? I mean, from his perspective, sit around and decide? Because as far as he was concerned, we were all his kids. He couldn't love us anymore if we were biological kids. I mean, he just couldn't. And and so as he put it, it's like, yeah, so what am I supposed to do? Sit around and decide what's a good day for my kids to die? What's a
Yeah.
good day to kill my kids? No, not going to happen. And so integration is completely off the table. And don't go there or I go. That's pretty much it. And what she said, fine. And it was, I don't know, maybe 2 months later, she brought up integration. And in my head, I had my shoes off in the office. I was sat cross-legged, right? So it was easier with the shoes off. In my head, my shoes were already on. The coat was already on. He was walking out the door. It was done. And by the way, this change in pronouns is difficult. Sometimes I want to say, and then I, but it wasn't me. And then I feel dishonest because it wasn't. But
I totally understand. I
I
like
know you
pronouns
would.
fail me. Yeah,
I know. I know
they're
you would.
hard.
Right. But Angel had like in his head had his shoes on and everything else like that. She said, I want to talk about integration for just a minute. And he was like, oh, it's done. And that's too bad because I really liked her. So that was kind of the thought process that went. And then what she said was, um, integration is has always been the goal in every case that I've worked with or even heard about it. However, in your case, I think it's contraindicated. And then Angel took his shoes off in his head and put his coat down, but kept them close because, yeah, she said that in your case it was contraindicated. And then now she had his full attention. And it was like, well, she continued and said that you guys love each other with, yeah, it for you, it would somehow, y'all have figured out a way to become more than the sum of your parts.
Mm.
They are your family. They are your friends. Nobody should lose their friends and family. No one. And it was like, okay, we're good now. I will be with you forever now. That's it. Until you retire, which is what happened, by the way. But so, yeah. And so I totally understand that thinking, about the fact they're my family and stuff, but and my friends. I get that. Um, when Lori and Micah integrated, that was pretty seamless. Um, and honestly, I would be trying to write a narrative with you right now to tell you what that was like. Because Angel's experience was so much different. I'm going to concentrate on that because that I don't have to write a narrative. That was crystal clear, in so much as so. Um, yeah, for anybody like who hasn't figured this out yet, I'm trans, um, and um, and that's how Angel got created. It was no longer. I mean, it never was, but it finally got through to us at 6 years old that it was not safe to be a girl. And we needed a boy. And we needed a boy who could protect us. And again, so we created Angel. That was Angel's sole purpose in existence, right? Is to protect us. And he did a bang up job. Nobody could have done any better, for real. Um, but when he realized that he was created at 6 years old, it really literally took about 6 months for him to, because it was such a big thing.
Yeah.
It took 6 months for him to wrap his head around the fact that, wait a second, if he was created at 6 years old, then oh my God, Sunny is the original. Shit, I've got to give her back her life. Right. Um, and at that moment, that's when we started to age. That's when I started to age. Um, and so the process, he came, we moved. Okay. Um, I'm a girl. And we were living in a senior community, 55 plus, the demographic least likely to accept me,
Mhm.
you know. Um, and so he started looking for a place to move where it would be safe. This is as safe as it gets where I'm at right now for me. Um, Matter of fact, when I was seeing the property, um, Angel asked the guy, Angel was showing Angel came up, but yeah, he asked the person who was showing us the apartment, said, um, will I be safe here? Um, and really what he was asking is, Angel was asking if Sunny would be safe here because yeah, Angel wasn't worried about anybody or anything. Um, that and what the guy said was that he lives on property and he's raising a teenage transgender daughter
Mhm.
and has never once worried about her safety here. And I'm like, okay, that was about as much confirmation as I'm ever going to feel find. And yeah, anyway, so Angel, when we moved up here, Angel introduced himself to everyone as Sunny. He was trying to be me for me, which was, you know, his MO, right? He was going to take care of us still. Um, and again, trying to be me for me. And I knew he'd figure it out. You can't just continue to do that forever. Um, and like that. So, I went shopping and I ended up with a new wardrobe by the time, in 6 weeks, by the time he figured it out, um, but then it was pretty horrible actually. Um, Angel realized that he had to let go. And so as I began to wax, he began to wane. And it finally got to the point where, and look, Angel wanted me to have my life more than anything. I mean, ultimately, all Angel is an isolated part of my own mind, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what he was, is an isolated part of he couldn't want anything else, than to give me back my life. However, as I say, as he was waning, we got to a point where he couldn't not want to give me my life, but he also couldn't not protect me.
So you
And
had in not double negative terms.
well,
Yeah, my brain can't get around that. He couldn't not protect you.
understood. Yeah, I mean, his job, his sole reason for being was to protect me. And if the percentage of Angel, if you will, dropped below 50%, then he wasn't going to be able to protect me, which was his whole reason for being. And yet he couldn't. He wanted me to have my life. He needed me to have my life. That was the most important thing to him, except for protecting me. They were equal, and he couldn't do both. And I'd say probably the Dark Night of Angel's Soul went on for about 7 weeks. It was really hard to watch. Um, he was absolutely losing that piece of his mind that I gave him. um, yeah, he started. He was in more emotional pain, I think, than well, certainly than I've ever seen him in. And it was constant for, like I said, about 7 weeks. And then on November 30th, 2023, a we at that point went to court and we filed paperwork to change my name. Sonny's a nickname, Sunseri, um, and to legally change our name. And it was seamless. Thought it would take a lot longer. Filled out the paperwork, and on Tuesday was told to come in Thursday morning. Um, Came in Thursday morning, and I was standing in front of, they told me to come up to get the paperwork, and the woman was, the judge had already did his thing. She was, I don't know, putting a signature on it or stamping it or whatever she was doing. And I'm standing in front of her, and there's this big digital clock in front of me. I remember it was 11:11 in the morning, and I was quivering. I was about to be Sunny legally, right? I mean, this is a big deal. And I'm quivering, and it just blurted out, I'm so excited. And I hadn't used the word I for, and I went looking for Angel, and there wasn't enough left of him to front for
Oh,
the first time. He let go at the, as, as I stood there to get my name. Um, he let go. And yeah, like I said, there just wasn't enough to front anymore. And um, and since then, it's been more gradual, although there are times that, um, I'd say most times now. So what was it, like December 1st-ish, right? So what's it been, 6 months now? And I don't think I can feel him anymore, but his patterns of thinking and doing, right? There's so much a part of me that I can't help but remember, you know, him in this situation, or what he would do in this situation. But it's not because he's there anymore,
mhm.
but it's so clear. I know exactly what Angel would do in that spot, or what Angel would think in that spot. And um, yeah, there's so much weird about this though now, because, like, for instance, okay, um, I cut myself. Okay. No, I burned myself. I did cut myself too, by the way. I burned myself cooking. This body has never burned itself cooking before, ever. Okay. Worked as a cook in a restaurant, even. Okay. Um, and Angel cooked every meal, 3 meals a day, every meal for us. Okay. That's the way it was. Um, that's why I went to Colorado for those Zoom meetings, because it ended at 5:30. Angel would cook dinner at 5:30, have it on the table at 6 o'clock, and then turn over executive control of mind and body to me. And he would go to sleep and let me take the body to bed. And he would wake up in the morning. And that's the way it always was. He always cooked. He always took care of us. And like this, I didn't do any of the cooking. Finally burned myself. Cut myself too, by the way. But anyway, different one. But anyhow, um, so I had this huge blister. It was a second-degree burn. Okay. And I brought some Neosporin in my purse. And when I was on the bus going somewhere and it burst. And I had some paper towels and stuff, and I cleaned it up, put some Neosporin in. When I got off the bus, I went right to the grocery store and I grabbed some Band-Aids, and there they are. And like that, didn't think about it. Was looking at the Band-Aids, looking for the cheapest one, and found it. Put a Band-Aid on, went to where I was going, finished doing that, came home. It was 8 hours later. I'm changing the dressing when I realized Angel never had a Band-Aid on in his life. Like when they would put one here after a blood draw, as soon as they turned around, he'd rip it off and throw it away. It just, um, I'm autistic. And the sensory, both the feel of a Band-Aid and the smell would send him over the edge. He couldn't do it, right? I've had it on all day and it doesn't bother. I had no idea.
That's what I was just going to ask, is if you think that, if in your experience, the autism is in the body or in the personality.
Well, good question. And this is what I have come to conclude. And I have spoken to a couple of people, professionals, who are like, wow, hadn't thought of that, hadn't heard of that. That sounds right. Okay. When I got diagnosed with autism, the um, the psychologist said um, that one of the tricks was that um, one of the tricky bits was the fact that trauma can mimic autism in some ways. And so you have to be really clear that this isn't trauma, this is autism. And that there's some overlap where symptoms come up at the same way. And since with that piece of information, I have come to um, I'm going to say believe, but I'm believing with an open palm. Okay, I'm not clutching on this too much, but I pretty much believe that Angel protected me from the trauma. I mean, I already had some, but it stopped it at 6 years old. Angel absorbed it. Lori absorbed some of it. Micah did not. I didn't. We were the youngest, and um, Angel got 99% of it. Lori got some, but um, but yeah. So what I'm thinking is that um, maybe, I mean, we were autistic, but Angel is autistic with severe trauma, with CPTSD, and I am just autistic.
Okay.
That's kind of how I figure maybe that's it. It certainly sort of makes sense to me that it was. Seemed to make sense to the professionals that talked about it too. That, but yeah. Oh, this is the biggest one though. Oh my God, it's just so amazing. So
Then I want to tell you a little bit about my story that is similar or different from yours.
you can tell me right now if you want.
Well, I have a child to pick up, unfortunately, so I'm gonna have to leave. Well, no, I've got like 17 whole minutes. Well, the things that I was thinking of, the things that I'm really curious about. I mean, there's so many. I just want to talk to you forever.
Mhm.
Um, in my experience, I also did a name change. I did a name change only a couple of years after 9/11. And so it took more than a year to do. And it was way more involved and difficult than yours. But I remember, like, for me, I changed my name, my original name. I changed it when I got married, the first name and the last name. Um, and it's an incredibly strong step, because once you've changed like that, you can't really go back. I mean, I could go back to my other name, but it doesn't feel like me. When people use that name with me, it feels like they're talking to a memory. They're not talking to me. But part of the result of that, so okay, I'm gonna disclose here. Nowhere else on this channel does it say my actual name, but I'm gonna disclose. So I had been Marianne DeHart and I switched it to Finn T, but the Finn that I switched it to is Finn. And the self, the part that I named it after is little Fin. And that was the first time that I was ever hospitalized for psychosis, the first of a number of times that I've been hospitalized for psychosis. Um, the overflowing of the soul, this Finn part was like this glass flute to the divine energy of everything that I call Zorla now, my higher power. This Finn was this part of me that could conduit this love in the world so much. And so all of my poetry ever since high school, I've always signed Finn. That's my signature, but little Fin. And then when I decided to have that be my actual legal name, I didn't want I didn't want to pull like a share and just do Finn. So I didn't want it to attract attention unnecessarily. So I made it capital Finn. So there I am, like intentionally constructing the identity of an alter, basically. And this self, for me, the way that I experience it, you were talking about Angel going to bed, going to sleep, and handing executive control over to you. For me, I have a witness part that has a continuous stream of consciousness, even when others are talking and acting. I can feel it very strongly right now. So I have what Oliver Sacks calls cognitive diplopia. I have one part in my mind, fronting is the word you used, and then another part watching. And um, that's one thing that I was curious if you had had a similar experience when you have multiple people in your mind at once, or when you used to. And then the other one is sometimes I'll be like watching, and there'll be like, it's usually two men who are screaming at each other, just black rage in my head while I'm trying to function. And I myself am not angry at all. Like, I'm just like, where's the Captain Crunch? Like, I'm just trying to live. And in my head, there's this horrible war going on that makes it really difficult to function. So I was wondering if you had anything like that. And then here's another one. I have these invasive thoughts, like either images of blowing my head off is really common, or a part that just keeps yelling, "Don't hurt me! Don't hurt me! Don't hurt me!" And it'll do it like in the cheese section at the grocery store, or once I was in a JavaScript course learning about Redux and React, like JavaScript frameworks, and my brain starts screaming, "Don't hurt me!" at me. So I haven't, like, I don't know. I was just interested in whether or not when you have multiple parts active at once, if that feels similar or different to you from how it feels to me.
You know, um, in 2 days, I will be celebrating 32 years clean. Um, so
Congratulations.
thank you. I mention that because Angel reaching out to me is what made that possible. Um, Angel knew because of periods of amnesia, um, reports from other people about conversations we did not have, from his perspective and stuff like that. People that he had never met who knew him clearly, that we would run into again, um, because I had interactions with them, or I was there, right? Um, and at 27, he made a commitment to himself that he would spend the last 15 minutes before bed talking to whoever this other guy was. It wasn't a guy, it was me, but he didn't know that. So he was going to sit there and spend the last 15 minutes talking to whoever this guy was for the next 30 days. and just before bed and try to make contact, basically, is what it was. And and I'm telling you all of that because before that, I witnessed everything. It took about 18 months, maybe 2 years, for us to form for Angel. I did not trust Angel. I did not expect Angel to forget that I was, and he did. And he usurped my life for a long time. He was trying to take care of me, but over 20 years, he usurped my life. I was, I had a resentment against him. Um, for 18 months to 2 years, he did everything in his power to earn my trust. Even when I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. He was like, and I'm going to not give up anyway. I don't care. I'm going to be trustworthy and I'm going to be loving. And I mean, that's where he was coming from.
Sonny,
Yep.
I'm terribly sorry, but we have exactly 1 minute left.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Anyway, it's just at that point we formed Team Us, and I stopped having to witness everything.
Hmm.
I trusted him with my life, and I didn't have to keep tabs on him. He always had my best interest at heart, and he made me believe that.
That sounds so relaxing.
It was. But now we have seconds. But let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. Thank you so much.
You betcha. Sending love, and we will talk next time.
Okay.
Bye bye for now.